There are ways to destroy your enemy that requires no swords, no shouting, no bloodshed, only the mastery of the self. The weak wage war with their hands, the strong wage war within, and those who conquer themselves leave no enemy standing. Have you ever noticed that the most powerful individuals are those who remain unshaken, even in the face of great opposition? They do not react with rage, nor do they seek petty revenge. Instead, they wield something far greater, self-mastery. True power lies not in destruction, but in transcendence. It is not the elimination of the enemy that brings victory, but the elevation of the self. This is the path of the Stoic, a path where battles are won before they begin, where enemies become insignificant, and where the ultimate conquest is not over others, but over our own impulses, fears, and weaknesses. If you wish to render your foes powerless, then you must first learn the discipline of the mind. Here are 7 ways to destroy your enemy without ever lifting a finger. 1. Deprive them of the conflict they crave. A man controlled by anger is a man controlled by others. Do you not see? The moment you react, you become their puppet. Epictetus reflected that. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. The true warrior stands unmoved, watching chaos unfold around him like the ocean watches the storm, unaffected, indifferent, eternal. This is not passivity, this is power. The one who lashes out blindly is the one who is easily manipulated. When you let rage dictate your actions, you give your enemy control over your fate. They set the terms, they define the conflict, and they revel in your predictable reaction. Instead, practice the art of stillness. Observe their insults and provocations as though you are watching a passing cloud. Acknowledge its presence, but do not grasp at it. Respond if you must, but do so with deliberation and wisdom. A calm mind is an unpredictable mind. And unpredictability breeds discomfort in your foes. When you refuse to engage, you starve them of what they desire most: your attention, your emotion, your energy. Without these, their attack crumbles into irrelevance. The battle dies when you refuse to fight, and in that moment, you have already won. 2. Rule yourself, and you rule them. The tyrant controls through fear, the fool controls through impulse, but the Stoic controls through discipline. Marcus Aurelius declares, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." True power is not in the hands of those who seek to dominate others, but in those who have mastered themselves. Consider the man who is ruled by his emotions. One slight and one insult, he will be sent into a frenzy. He is predictable, easy to manipulate, a puppet dancing on the strings of those who understand his weaknesses. Now, contrast this with the man who remains composed, unshaken by provocation. His silence unnerves his enemies. His restraint disarms them. His refusal to react renders them powerless. To master oneself is to strip the enemy of their weapons. If they seek to intimidate you, but you do not fear them, they have failed. If they try to provoke you, but you remain calm, they have lost. And if they attempt to manipulate you, but you see through their deception, their power vanishes like mist before the rising sun. Self-discipline is the greatest fortress. The man who needs nothing cannot be bribed. The man who fears nothing cannot be threatened. The man who expects nothing from others cannot be disappointed. He is free, and in his freedom, he rules over all who are still enslaved by their desires, fears, and passions. Master yourself, and you will never again be at the mercy of another. 3. Rise above pettiness. Become a mountain. A mountain does not tremble at the bark of dogs. A river does not stop when met with a pebble. True strength is not found in retaliation, but in the refusal to be disturbed by trivialities. The petty seek vengeance. The wise seek elevation. Seneca teaches us, a noble character loves to benefit and is oblivious to injuries. The one who holds on to resentment is a prisoner, chained by his own mind. Do you not see? When you dwell on an insult, you are giving it weight. When you stew in resentment, you are extending your enemy's power over you. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is liberation. It is the act of saying, "You are too insignificant to trouble me." To be offended is a choice, and the wise do not choose it. They stand firm, like a mountain unmoved by the wind. Let your enemies waste their energy on hatred, on bitterness, on empty rage. While they seethe, you rise. While they crumble, you build. And in the end, they are left with nothing while you have gained everything. The greatest punishment you can inflict upon your enemy is to show them that they have no power over you. Indifference is the ultimate weapon. 4. Let time be your greatest weapon. The impatient fall first. They burn with emotion, they act without thought, and they crumble under the weight of their own recklessness. But the patient man, he watches, he endures. He lets time do what time does best. It reveals all. Time is the silent judge that exposes all falsehoods, erodes all facades, and reveals every hidden weakness. The one who rushes into battle is often the first to fall, for he is blinded by his own urgency. But the one who waits, he sees the patterns, he recognizes the flaws, he allows his enemies to exhaust themselves in their own fury. As Heraclitus tells us, time is a game played beautifully by children. It is not something to be feared, but something to be wielded. Be still, be calm. Let time work in your favor. The one who waits long enough will always see his enemies undone, not by his own hand, but by their own impatience, arrogance, and folly. Resist the urge to act rashly. Move when the moment is right and never before. Time, when mastered, is the greatest weapon of all. 5. Win by becoming better. The greatest revenge is not destruction, it is transformation. If they slander you, rise. If they betray you, rise. And if they seek to pull you down, rise so high that their efforts become laughable. Excellence is the ultimate form of domination. Your enemies expect you to engage in their petty battles, to sink to their level. Instead, ascend. Build yourself into something so great, so disciplined, so untouchable, that they become irrelevant. 6. Make them irrelevant. And finally, to truly neutralize your enemy, the most powerful move is to make them irrelevant. The key to this is understanding that the greatest control anyone can have over you is not through physical force, but through your mind. When an enemy's presence occupies your thoughts, when their name triggers anger or frustration in you, they continue to wield power over your peace. Even if they are no longer around, if their words or actions still affect your emotions, they still hold dominion over your inner world. As Marcus Aurelius so wisely said, You always have the power of opinion. Do not think it is harmed, and it will not be. You have the ultimate authority over how you perceive the world and the people in it. When you consciously decide to view them with indifference, you strip them of their power. This is not about denial or pretending they don't exist, but rather choosing to rise above the emotional weight they seek to place on your shoulders. The true mark of emotional freedom is in this detachment. The more you cling to anger, hatred, or the desire for their downfall, the more they continue to control you. You may feel justified in wanting revenge, but that only gives them a continued presence in your life, through your thoughts, your energy, and your actions. Instead, choose a different path. Let them fade away, become nothing more than a shadow in your past. Stop wishing for their suffering. Stop dreaming of their downfall. Simply forget them. This is the final blow to any enemy, mental indifference. When they no longer occupy your mind, they no longer hold any sway over your life. They are powerless, and in that moment, you are free. So remember, you have the power of your own mind. Don't let anyone else's actions dictate your inner world. By mastering this indifference, you reclaim your peace and your strength. And in doing so, you defeat your enemy not with force, but with the ultimate form of mental freedom. This is the path of the Stoic. This is how we destroy our enemies, not by their downfall, but by erasing their influence over us completely. And with that, you are truly free.